this video, we'll see how to find prime numbers using the Sieve of Eratosthenes. So let's say you want to find all prime numbers between 1 and n. And so we begin by making a grid of these numbers from 1 to n. Now in this video, I'm just going to go from 1 to 60 because that's pretty much all I can fit on the screen. So here are my numbers from 1 to 60. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin by crossing off 1 because 1 is not a prime. And then I'm going to circle 2 because 2 is a prime. And then the next thing I need to do is I need to cross off every other number. So I'm going to just count out from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and keep going up by 2 each time. And then I'm going to cross off all the multiples of 2. Now I look to see which is the next number that hasn't been crossed off yet, and I see that it's a 3. So I'm going to go ahead and circle the 3. And now I'm going to count up by 3s, and then any number that isn't already crossed off will be crossed off. So counting up from 3, I get 4, 5, 6. 6 is already crossed off. 7, 8, 9. 9 isn't crossed off. And then I just continue counting up by 3s. If they're not already crossed off, I'll cross them off. Repeating the process with 5. 5 is the first number not crossed off, so I'm going to circle that. And then I'm going to count up by 5s, and each time I see a number that isn't already crossed off, I'll cross it off. So starting with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10's already crossed off. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 is already crossed off. And then I keep going. I get to 20, it's already crossed off. 25 isn't. Keep going. 30 is. 35 is not. 40 is. 45's already crossed off. 50's already crossed off. 55. I look for the next number that hasn't been crossed off yet, and that is a 7. I'm going to circle the 7, and then counting up by 7s until I find a number that hasn't been crossed off yet. The first one I see is 49. I'm going to go ahead and cross that off, and all the other multiples of 7 are already crossed off. Now I could just keep following the same pattern, looking for the next number that's not crossed off, 11, and go ahead and circle it. But notice that all of the multiples 11 are already crossed off, 22, 33, 44, 55. Okay, look at the next number, 13. Well, all the multiples of 13 are already crossed off. And so basically I'm just going to circle all the rest of the numbers. Notice that all the rest of the numbers are prime numbers. So in this grid, all of the circled numbers are prime numbers, and all of the numbers crossed off are not prime numbers. So my question is, how do I know when to stop and just circle all of the remaining numbers? So the property that 11 satisfies, how did I know that I could just stop and circle all of the remaining numbers? Well, if you look at the last number on this grid, that's 60. The square root of 60 is between 7 and 8. So It's greater than 7 because 7 times 7 is 49. But the square root of 60 is less than 8 because 8 times 8 is 64. So 11 is greater than the square root of 60. That means that I can just stop the process and circle all the remaining numbers. So in summary, the rule is when the next prime p that you circle satisfies p is greater than the square root of n is the last number on the grid, then all of the remaining numbers are prime, circle them, and then all of the numbers with circles are prime numbers.